Welcome to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. Today is Sunday, August 14th. Happy birthday to my brother. And once again, I'm joined alongside by my dad. How you doing today, Dad?
Happy birthday, John.
So, I want to start off today's Harvey Hour by talking about a dude that we have discussed, I'm sure, plenty of times on the show, whether it be drama, a positive outlook on him. And that's one Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield made his first debut as a Carolina Panther yesterday. He completed 4 of 7 passes for 45 yards and leading them to 1 field goal score. His running partner, Sam Darnold, who he's currently in a starting battle over, he went 2 for 3 with 16 yards and a touchdown. So what do you think of Baker Mayfield's performance yesterday against the Commanders?
Very good. I'm sure the Panthers are happy with it. He looked good. He made all his plays. When the play broke down, he was able to run for extra yardage. So he looks like he's in good shape, recovered from his injury, and ready to go.
That's the most shocking part about how healthy he looked.
Yeah.
I mean, on some of these passes, he was zipping the ball with high velocity, something that we haven't really seen since probably his rookie year when he wasn't hurt.
Look at that pass. It just threw. He put it right on his hands.
And then look, he got drilled on this. This is the same play. He absolutely got drilled on that shoulder. Yeah. Pile drove into the ground. I was very, very impressed with Baker Mayfield. I'm extremely optimistic for the Panthers this year. We'll talk about my preseason standings coming up in a number of minutes here. I have the Panthers having probably more wins than people are expecting them to have, but it's just because I think Baker Mayfield can do it. I mean, he's already won a playoff game, the first playoff game the Browns have ever won in, I think, a quarter of a century.
Yeah.
So, I
think for the Panthers to do well, their supporting cast has got to stay healthy.
I think just the general team has to stay healthy.
They always, with McCaffrey in there, they're a better team, much better team. So, I think he needs to stay healthy. They don't have a lot of depth, so if the starting lineup can stay healthy, then maybe you're right. Maybe they will win a few more games than people expect. But if not, it could be tough.
I think it will rely heavily on...
a pretty tough division, Tom Brady's division.
True. True. So, but I mean, the rest of the division doesn't seem that well. I mean, you have Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder on the Falcons, and then you have Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton on the Saints.
Yeah, well, the Saints, it's not all about just the quarterback there. They have a decent defense.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, what surprised me was the drastic regression of the Commanders' defense for last year to the year before. In 2020, they were ranked the second best defense, and in 2021, they were ranked bottom 4.
Commanders?
The Commanders, yeah. Or they used to be the Washington football team.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were horrible last year in defense, which really shocked me. I guess that could be
Chase. What's his name? Chase
Young. Yeah, he got hurt. But still, they still had Montez Sweat. They had. I mean, I'm pretty sure that D line. There was a story about how it was like all first round picks or something like that. They had a crazy defensive line. So I was surprised by how the massive regression. But Baker Mayfield. I mean, I understand it's preseason. It's week 1 of the preseason, but he's throwing some of these passes under pressure. I mean, the Commanders had some of their starters out there. I mean, that was just Jonathan Allen that just who just pressured Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
I mean, the Commanders had some of their starters out there yesterday, but Baker Mayfield looks really healthy. I feel that the Panthers have a lot of potential. I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but I think they could be much better with
McCaffrey
Baker
didn't play
Mayfield
yesterday, right?
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
They had Chuba Hubbard still in there. I don't know if Robbie Anderson played, but I mean, the receiving core isn't really there. I mean, I think you still have Robbie Anderson. I think you have DJ Moore, but anyone else, I mean, Christian McCaffrey needs to stay healthy. That's the number one thing. I mean, if he's going to average 25 carries a game with also like 6 receptions, no, he'll get hurt again because that's what's been happening the past couple of years.
Well, Baker Mayfield is a step up in the quarterback, so maybe they won't have to put so much pressure on McCaffrey to make all those plays. Mayfield can make some plays to the wide receivers.
Yeah. I mean,
I think he'll beat out Darnold easily.
Oh, no, I agree. And right now he is in the lead, and I think he will win the starting job. I think this right now is his job to lose. But, I mean, that first pass, we're not showing it right now, but that first pass was, I believe the receiver's going out to the right side. That was the first pass, and it was a little bit behind him. But some of these throws, they got a lot of velocity on them. He's throwing them under pressure. Yeah. This is the one with Jonathan Allen.
That one that just threw there was a good pass.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen right up in his face, right up in his grill.
Yeah.
I mean, he's extending plays with his legs. I mean, look at this play.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the broken play, and he still got some yardage out of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and there was another play that there was a couple. This might still be the play, but the play broke down. He rolled out to his left, and he made like a 4 or 5 yard completion, trying to direct traffic. Nothing was there, so he just dished it off. I mean, Baker Mayfield's looking good. I think he's happy, and you know what? Week 1, he's up against the Browns. It's a revenge tour game for him right there.
No, I think they'll win. I think the Panthers will win that game.
I guess it all resides on Deshaun Watson, whether he's there or not. But even then, I think that long pass right there.
It was a beautiful pass. Right on the guy's hands.
That could have been caught.
Look, right there.
That could have been caught.
Yeah, well, I got hit pretty hard there.
No, I understand. But, I mean, if you're fighting for a job here,
yeah,
you got to be making plays like that. I mean, he got both hands on the ball. He just couldn't hold on to it.
He was under pressure throwing that ball, too.
Yeah, he got drilled into the ground. Yeah. So I'm very, very optimistic for Baker Mayfield this season. I think he's going to look really good. As long as he doesn't get, destroyed. I mean, the O-line isn't that good.
Yeah.
The Browns had a better O-line than the Panthers do right now. And we're seeing it in the preseason that, the Washington Commanders, who were ranked 27th in sacks last year, some crazy low number. They're getting to Baker Mayfield. They're breaking down that offensive line.
Well, Baker Mayfield's mobile. I mean, he can escape pressure.
Yeah. But I mean, how many times can you escape pressure? I mean, he's just coming off a serious torn labrum injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see Baker Mayfield this year. I'm sure a lot of pressure will be on him to try to, right the wrongs that the Browns did to him, kind of leaving him in the dust, going out to get Deshaun Watson without telling Baker Mayfield and then saying, "Oh, by the way, we're doing
Deshaun
this."
Watson doesn't do you much good if he can't play.
Yeah.
And that looking more and more like he won't be playing for at least 8 games.
Deshaun Watson, he didn't even play that well in his first preseason game.
They only let him play a few downs, right?
Yeah, he threw 5 passes. He went 1 of 5 for I think 5 yards, something like that. So I mean, he wasn't looking particularly well. I mean, this is his first action in 2 years, so maybe it could just be a little bit of the rust. So I mean, I think the way it's going to go, the NFL will probably win the appeal, get him done for the full season.
I think so. Oh, you think they're going for the full season?
No, it's an indefinite suspension, which means instant 1 year. And it is more if Deshaun Watson does not improve his behavior. That's what the indefinite suspension is. So I could definitely see the NFL winning that appeal. I think they will win it. And even then, even if it's 12 games, still, you have Joshua Dobbs. It could be Jimmy G. It could be Jimmy G.
Yeah.
I think that's a dumb decision to sign Jimmy G, because then you'll sort of be in literally the same situation that the 49ers were just in. You drafted a quarterback, or in this case, you signed a quarterback in the Browns case for, that'll be your future. And then you bring in Jimmy G, or you already have Jimmy G. You let him play. He might play well, he might play poorly, but usually he wins games. He doesn't lose you games very often, but he wins you games, and then you're kind of in a situation where, do I keep him? He's an expensive backup if I keep him as a backup, but he's starter material. Or and in the Browns' case, if he wins, let's say the Browns, then they go get Jimmy G before week 1. Let's say Deshaun Watson's suspended for 12 games, and they go out and get Jimmy G for week 1. Let's say Jimmy G goes 8-4, 9-3, and then the Browns would be like, well, Jimmy G just won us 9 games. We are paying Deshaun Watson $230 million, fully guaranteed. What do we do with Jimmy G because he's a $26 million backup? That's the whole point. Yeah, that's the whole situation.
But that's what they'll do. I think they'll.
I think they'll try to keep him as a backup. I don't think
I don't think he'll want that though. I mean, if he wins those games, then he'll be. If he wins 9 games with the Browns, then there's a market for him.
Of course,
right? There'll be other teams that want him, and he'll want to go because he'll want to be a starter.
I mean, he should already have a market right now. I understand he's coming off an injury, but he just went to a
market for him. Probably the Browns will try to get him.
He's gone to 2 NFC championships and a Super Bowl. When
is it going to be clear when Deshaun Watson, take that down. We've seen those plays 100 times.
What?
So when will Deshaun Watson's ultimate penalty be?
There's no timetable for it. There's no timetable.
That's tough, man. That's tough for the Browns. They made a big mistake.
Yeah. But I mean,
sort of like I liken it to the Nets going and getting Kyrie Irving, right?
Right.
Yeah. He didn't play much. They paid him a fortune, didn't play much, disrupted the team. The team didn't do crap. And now look where they are.
Funny you bring up Kyrie Irving.
Nobody wants to be on the team now.
This wasn't a planned topic, but you bring Kyrie Irving up. Kyrie Irving, there was a rumor out saying that he doesn't even want to play with Durant anymore after he gave the Nets an ultimatum between GM and coach or him. So that's just a little subtopic there. We're gonna move on right now. We're gonna move on to a guy that we have been talking about a lot recently, and that's Lamar Jackson. Whether it be top 10 quarterback, top 10 talent, whatever you want to call it, rumors about Lamar Jackson, debates about whether he's a top 10 quarterback or not. This time we're talking about his contract. Lamar Jackson is still without an extension. He's playing on his 5th-year option this year, which means that in March, if he can't get a deal done, he'll be a free agent. But of course the Ravens could always franchise tag him, which is about $45 million for a franchise tag, which will go down as quarterbacks start restructuring their deals. But right now it's $45 million franchise tag for the quarterback. Lamar Jackson is right now playing chess. He has moved into a prime position to get what he wants because he gave the Ravens a deadline of week 1. You have until week 1 to offer me an extension that I want.
And then what is he going to do?
And then he will refuse to talk about for the rest of the regular season.
So he'll play the regular season without a contract.
Essentially. And then in the offseason, that's when they'll try to get a deal done.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen.
Lamar doesn't have an agent, so this deal will be directly from him to the Ravens. It's literally there's no middleman in between it. And that could cause some trouble because Lamar, I doubt, is well versed in legalities and contractual deals. So this is strictly him going off what he wants and what he thinks he's worth without an agent saying, well, this is the situation. This is how we can work it out. It's now Lamar Jackson's head, and I'm sure his family's also in on it, giving him advice and everything like that. Do you think Lamar will get signed to an extension before week 1, though?
No.
You don't think so? Do you think that? Well, I mean, right now, he's asking for about more than what he's asking for, at least $230 million guaranteed, if not more. He's wants more, but $230 fully guaranteed is the starting deal right now. And I mean,
I don't think the Ravens are going to do that. I think they prefer to let him play the season. He'll probably have one hell of a season if he's without a contract, and he was playing for a contract. Most athletes play really well in their contract year, and I think they'll probably do that because I think if he does play that well, then they'll sign him up, and they'll probably give him a little more money than he would have gotten if he signed on before week 1. So I think he's going to play without a contract. It's risky. It's risky.
No, it is risky, of course, because you're betting on
Dak
yourself.
Prescott.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He had a compound fracture in his ankle. Yeah. I mean, he still made a lot of money, though.
Still got a nice contract, but he probably would have got more if he had. Well, actually, he had more leverage beforehand, I think, than he did after he got hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Cowboys could have probably right now. I think he's making about $47 million a year, something crazy. I think that's the number for Dak Prescott.
It's crazy.
The Cowboys could be paying him around 42 if they signed him a couple of years ago. So the smart move for teams, at least with young quarterbacks, is sign him early. You'll get him for a much bigger discount than you would, because if you have a situation like Lamar Jackson where he was a unanimous MVP. And he puts up these great numbers. He's the best rushing quarterback we've ever seen in the history of the NFL.
Maybe the Ravens should have tried to do the contract 2 years ago.
Very, very well could. They could
probably could have gotten an even better deal.
They probably could have signed him for about 44.
The quarterback contracts have gone off the charts now.
Oh yeah, they're tremendously high. They're tremendously high. But now they're in a situation where they'll probably have to pay $250 million. My guess is you're looking.
If he has a great year.
I mean,
he may have a stinker year. If he gets hurt again, he has a year that's not so great, then his value is going down. He's playing a risk game here. And we'll see. I don't think they'll do it. I think they'll hold out.
I agree with you. I don't think they'll get it done. But then the Ravens, if they really think, because they have zero backup plan. I doubt Tyler Huntley is the number one answer for the Ravens right now. Lamar Jackson was their guy. Jim Harbaugh, when he drafted him, said, "This is your team. We will mold this team around your strengths."
And they've done that.
Now, that has been partially to his downfall because people are talking about his lack of talent in the receiving corps. Well, that's not what the Ravens are. The Ravens are a run-first team.
Yeah.
So if Jim Harbaugh is basing the system around you and you can't get a deal done because, yes, if we're going strictly off talent, right? If we're basing contracts off talent, then yes, he'd be worth a fully guaranteed contract, $250 million for 5 years, $50 million a year. So of course he would. But right now, he's trending downward in his passer rating. It's gone down every single year. He already got hurt. So we know he could be injury prone, and he's a mobile quarterback, which that doesn't last long in the NFL. So the Ravens are at a serious crossroads here. Because, yes, do I think he's actually worth that amount? Yeah. Will he get paid that? I don't think he will. because the Ravens are probably going to play this smart. They're not going to.
How much does he make this year on his existing contract?
The 5th-year option was 2022. If I could find it, that'd be great. I'm sure it's not very much. Because it's his rookie deal 5th-year option, so my guess is around $27 million. But here we go. He's on a 4-year, $9.4 million extension with a $5 million signing bonus and earn a base salary of $23 million. I'm trying to find it, but not having much luck. Let's see if I can find it over here. I'm not finding anything right now.
Yeah.
So I can't find the number right now. I'll keep looking, but it's not much.
Not that much.
Compared to the rest of the quarterbacks, it's not much. So, I mean, what do you think he's worth right now? What do you think he's worth versus how much you think the Ravens are going to pay him?
I think they're going to hold out, and he'll have to play his 5th-year contract, whatever it's worth. It's not a whole lot of money. And then if he has a great year, they'll see it's worth to give him another $20 million on the contract. If he doesn't, they may start to think about going in a different direction.
$23 million, by the way.
$23 million. So he's not hurting. I say he's not hurting.
I mean, compared to the rest of the quarterbacks, yeah, he's hurting.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have an agent, so he doesn't pay the agency fee. That's probably, I don't know what they get, about 10% probably, something like that. So he's not paying that, but $23 million you can get by on, I think, for a year.
Oh yeah, I agree, but it's very risky because guess what? Yeah. You are not secured long term at all.
No.
And I really don't think you're going to be getting like a long-term, 9-10 year deal. You'll be looking at like a 5-year deal.
5-year deal.
5-6 years at most.
Given the kind of quarterback he is, you give him a long-term deal.
Because that type of quarterback does not last long.
What did he get? 5 years deal?
He got a 5-year. Yeah, it's like $46.1 million a year.
Yeah, so it's something like that. I mean, that set the bar for Lamar, right? Is he asking for a contract about the same as Kyler Murray?
He's asking for one towards Deshaun Watson, $230 fully guaranteed, 5 years.
And what did Kyler Murray get?
Kyler Murray, I think it was a 5-year deal. We talked about it. Yeah, it's a 5-year deal. 5-year, $230.5.
Okay, and
but it's not fully guaranteed.
For minimum $230.
He's asking for Kyler Murray's contract was about $160 million guaranteed. Lamar Jackson's asking for $230 fully guaranteed, and that's the starting point
for 5 years.
For 5 years. Well, that would be the about.
He's asking for a lot.
He's asking for a tremendous amount, and he put the Ravens in a bad situation because the Ravens understand. You know what? Look at Colin Kaepernick. Because if you take a comparison between the Colin Kaepernick and Lamar Jackson, they are, I wouldn't say, exact, but they're strangely close towards their 3rd and 4th years. So they're looking at, I mean, look, Colin Kaepernick fell off. I mean, he got blackballed in the NFL, but he wasn't playing particularly well before that.
I know.
So
I think Lamar is a step above Colin Kaepernick in terms of talent.
No, he is. I understand, but I'm talking about strictly like the type of talent doesn't last long. I mean, Cam Newton. Look how badly Cam Newton fell off.
He played quite a long time, though, at a high level. Right?
It could have also been with the Panthers,
Took
too.
a lot of hits.
He did. He got hurt, and that kind of wrecked his Panthers thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just doesn't last long. Michael Vick.
He's out of the league, right? He's not playing
He's
for
a
anybody?
free agent right now. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's going to get signed.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean,
somebody gets hurt, maybe.
Still no. I don't think so. I just find it funny that Drew Lock right now is losing his job to Geno Smith. Geno Smith's listed as QB1 for the Seahawks.
Yeah, well, we'll see what it is on the first week of the season.
I guess it probably will be Geno Smith.
Yeah.
I should have a funny feeling about that.
Yeah.
We're going to take our first break here. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey, and once again, I'm joined side along my dad. We're going to talk about my preseason predictions, because I did this little experiment last year before I started the before I started, because we started about mid-season towards really the start of the playoffs. We started doing the Harvey Hour. But throughout the year, I basically had this experiment to see whether or not I could predict NFL games and the NFL spreads. See how accurate I could be as a sort of a prelude to what this show will turn into during the NFL season with some of the topics. For instance, the Harvey Hot Hand. I choose the 5 teams that if I were to bet money on, I'd bet on those teams and whether they cover the spread or not. So my win-loss ratio was pretty good. It was about 56% accurate, with my against the spread not being so well at about 43% accurate. Because I think it's much harder to guess the spread than choose win or loss. For the entire season, playoffs included, I was about 56% accurate for wins. So I decided, you know what? Let's do my preseason predictions, at least with the standings wise. We'll still do the Harvey Hot Hand as the season begins, but I reserve the right to change my standings twice. Right, so right now, which is not the first time, but I'm showing you guys my prediction here, and then right before week 1, I get to reserve the right because it's the end of the preseason. There could be more injuries, like for instance Zach Wilson being hurt. That could have been a torn ACL. Not looking too good. Mekhi Becton got hurt, so who knows if I have to change my Jets standings here. And then after, I could change it in week 1 if I want to, and then after week 8, I reserve the right to change it again if I want to. But after week 8, if I don't change it, or if I do change it, that's what I have to stick with. So let's begin with my preseason predictions for the AFC. These are my standings. I have the Bills are probably going to win. I actually have the Bills winning a considerable amount of games that people probably won't think so. I have them winning actually 15 games because I took a look at their schedule, which is, some of it's relatively easy. There's some challenges in there. I think that I have them losing to, I believe they play the Bengals, and I think they might play the Chiefs. They might lose there. But there's a lot of games where I'm like, if I'm just doing team versus team, which is the better team, the Bills won 15 out of 17 chances. The Bengals are number 2. The Ravens are number 5. The Ravens and Bengals actually have the same record for me, but the Bengals have a better division record, so that's why they take the 2 seed. Let's go with the number 3 seed. Actually, no, let's go to the AFC South. The Colts are the number 4 seed. Colts winning 12 games. They're going 12-5, sweeping their division, which some people might be like, what? Are you serious? Do you think they're going to sweep the Titans? I think they do, yeah. I think Matt Ryan's a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. The only question mark will really be, can the Colts defense stop Derrick Henry? And will Derrick Henry even stay healthy? Who knows? He's a tank. He's a running tank. So who knows? He might get hurt. He might not. And the AFC West, be careful of each NFC and AFC West team, because I actually have 3 teams from each of those conferences making it, or divisions, I guess. Broncos are the number 3 seed, Chargers are the number 6 seed, and then the Chiefs barely eking out the 7 seed. I have them only 1 game above the Raiders. Like I said this, as soon as Russell Wilson went there, as soon as J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack went over there, I knew instantly that the AFC West would be the hardest division. That's why none of the teams in the AFC West have under 10 wins. Each team has 10 or more wins. So that's my AFC standings. Let's move on to my NFC.
Wait. Let's talk about these.
Let's talk about the AFC? Sure. Let's go AFC.
Comments here.
Let's go.
So the Bills to be the number 1 seed, you must have them sweeping.
No, 5-1.
No, sweeping the AFC East.
No, 5-1.
Oh yeah, 5-1. Who do they lose to? Who's the one game they lose to?
I believe I have them splitting with the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that may be, maybe. And then I think I generally agree with the rest of it except for the Broncos.
Okay.
I think they're unproven. I think they have the potential, maybe, but they're unproven. And they got to have, Russell Wilson's going to have to play his heart out to get them to the number 3 seed, I think. I'm not sure they got the talent there aside from him to make it to the number 3 seed. I do think they have a good shot at making the playoffs, but maybe not the number 3 seed. And you don't have the Raiders in there at all, or the Patriots. And I think those 2 teams could, or the Titans. Titans were the number 1 seed in the AFC last year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even if Derrick Henry got hurt, he was hurt last year. And the running game is more than just him. It's the offensive line, too. And the runner behind Derrick Henry is pretty good, too. I do think Ryan Tannehill is a is not a very good quarterback. So, and you have the Colts at number 4.
Yeah.
Again, they're starting with a new quarterback, who is a very good quarterback.
Made a Super Bowl, won an MVP.
Yeah. So
has a team that's actually talented around him.
Yeah. So we'll see. Generally, I think you got there could be a flip there between the Raiders and I don't know if the Broncos are going to make it to win that division.
Well, let me explain why I put the Broncos ahead of everyone else in the AFC West.
Yeah, I'd like to understand that a little
bit. For the first time in Russell Wilson's career, he has an offensive head coach. He has a relatively good O-line compared to the Seahawks' no offensive line.
Yeah.
The Broncos' defense is pretty good. I'm not saying they're great, but they have Patrick Surtain. He's pretty good. They have Bradley Chubb. He's pretty good. They have a pretty good defense. And yes, the running backs are pretty good. The only question mark now, Tim Patrick tore his ACL, so he's one of the receivers that Russell Wilson has now lost. But they still have pretty good receivers. They have Jerry Jeudy, they have Cortland Sutton. So I believe, you know what, the only team that I think would really contest the Broncos at the number 1 spot for that division would be the Chargers. That's the only other team I can see. The Chiefs, I think, are going to have serious regression because Tyreek Hill was a huge part of that Chiefs' success.
Yeah. You don't think the Raiders have a chance to make the playoffs?
I have them winning 10 games and missing the playoffs. Think about that. I have them, and it's just because it's the AFC West.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to lose 2. I think they're going to lose.
How tough is the Chiefs' schedule this year?
I think the Chiefs, I think, have a pretty bad rough patch, especially early on. I'll bring up the schedule right now. But I think they have a serious rough patch very, very early on. Let's begin with this. Yeah, week 1, they start with the Cardinals, Chargers, Colts, Bucks, Raiders, Bills, 49ers. And then they have a little bit of an easy patch, Titans, Jaguars.
Titans are not an easy team. Titans have a good defense.
Who do they have a receiver? Robert Woods?
Is he playing for them?
Their defense has been ranked almost dead last each year in passing defense. They have a horrible passing defense. And they tried
were the
to
number
improve
1
it.
seed last year.
That was an anomaly. That was an anomaly. And look how bad they played in the postseason. Look how just decimated. Ryan Tannehill's first throw was an interception.
I know. Well, we're talking about getting to the playoffs, not how you do in the playoffs. So,
well, after the Jaguars, then the Chiefs go play the Chargers, Rams, Bengals, Broncos. And then they finish with Texans, Seahawks, Broncos, Raiders. They have a pretty difficult schedule. They play the Chargers twice now.
Yeah.
They play the Broncos twice.
Yeah.
They play the Raiders twice. So those 6 games right there are very, very difficult.
How about the Raiders schedule?
The Raiders schedule is too well. Yeah, I'll bring that up right now. But you really think? So what? Who do you think is gonna miss the playoffs? Then the AFC West. You think that the Broncos are gonna miss the playoffs?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it here.
Because
what is the Raiders schedule?
Because
they went out and got a lot of players. I think
they did. But I remember you telling me you were having doubts about Josh McDaniels' ability of a head coach. And I understand that they might make the playoffs. Let's see.
Well, they made the playoffs last year.
Well,
so
they're playing right now. They're up 10-3, by the way.
Oh,
against the Vikings. Week 1, they start with the Chargers.
Oh, that's tough.
Cardinals
is tough.
Titans, Broncos, Chiefs.
Titans, Broncos, Chiefs. Those are all hard games.
Then you have 3 easy games: Texans, Saints, Jaguars.
Okay.
Colts, Broncos, Seahawks.
Colts, Broncos. Well, those 2 out of 3 are tough.
Chargers, Rams, Patriots.
Chargers, Rams, Patriots. Those are tough games.
Steelers, Niners, Chiefs.
Yeah, they got a tough schedule.
Yeah.
Do the Chiefs schedule again?
The Chiefs schedule. I just got rid of it. Let's bring that up. Cardinals, Chargers, Colts.
Okay, those are 3 tough games.
Bucks, Raiders, Bills.
Bucks, Raiders, Bills. Those are tough.
Niners, Titans, Jaguars.
Well, only 1 easy game so far.
Chargers, Rams, Bengals.
Chargers, Rams, Bengals. Those are all hard.
Broncos, Texans, Seahawks. Those are at least 2.
Broncos, Texans, Seahawks. So there's 2 out of 3 there.
And then Broncos, Raiders, they end with. They have a very, very difficult schedule.
I think their schedule's tougher than the Raiders.
I just think, no, it is. But I just think Patrick Mahomes will do what he normally does and not, crack tremendously under pressure. I think Patrick Mahomes will have double-digit interceptions again. I think we'll see some serious regression, but I still think they'll be able to make the playoffs because it's Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. He still has Travis Kelce. Yeah. He has a couple new speedy receivers.
Yeah, you might be right. How about the Broncos schedule? Sorry.
You're fine. Just got to bring up each of them. Let's see. Let's begin. Seahawks, Texans, Niners. That's
Seahawks, Texans, Niners. So 2 out of 3 are easy.
Raiders, Colts, Chargers.
Those are hard.
Jets, Jaguars, Titans.
Jets, Jaguars is easy. Okay.
Raiders, Panthers, Ravens.
Raiders, Panthers, Ravens.
Yeah.
So maybe one of those is easier. Okay.
Chiefs, Cardinals, Rams.
Those are hard.
Chiefs, Chargers.
So they've got 5 games that are pretty easy.
I have them going 1-5 in their division. I think they're going to win one game, and I think that's against the Chiefs. I think they're going to split against the Chiefs and then be swept by the Chargers and Broncos. No, bro, I'm sorry, Broncos. I have them 4-2 in the division. Sorry, I thought we were talking about the Raiders. Yeah.
You have the Kansas City 1-5 in the division.
No, 3-3. The Raiders I have 1-5 in the division.
I see.
Because the division, I'd said the AFC West is the hardest division in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I want to move on to the NFC now.
Okay.
NFC. I understand. The first thing people are going to be noticing, the first thing that I understand people are going to grab the eyes at my number 2 seed.
Oh my God.
The number 2 seed. And I mean, if you just do it straight up team for team. Okay, let's begin with the NFC least because I think that's the easiest one. I was debating between having the Cowboys and Eagles. Who would be the number 1 seed in that division?
I'm surprised you got 2 playoff teams coming out of the NFC East. Well,
that's just how it is. The matchup wise, I have the Cowboys and Eagles actually tying in their records, each going 11-6. The only reason the Cowboys win is because they have a 5-1 division record. I understand Dak Prescott's going to have a little bit of regression because Amari Cooper, the stats with and without Amari Cooper are somewhat drastic. But I think the NFC least is such a weak division. That's why it's called the NFC least. No one has really won out of that division.
That's why I think
long.
that you're only going to get 1 playoff team out of that division.
I just think that the Eagles could be a serious contender this year. So I'm not talking about Super Bowl, but I'm talking about at least making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So 4 seed is the Cowboys, and then the 6 seed would be the Eagles. The 2 seed is the Vikings. I understand that blows people's minds. I'm fully aware of what that might look like. I've been going 13-4. I think the hands down answer is yes. They are winning the NFC North because the Packers look like a shell of what used to be called Title Town, which it isn't called that anymore, because when's the last time they won a title? What, like 13 years now? 14 years now? So I have the Packers actually going 9-8 this year, with 5 of their 9 wins coming actually within the division. I think they split with the Vikings, and then they sweep the Lions and the Bears. So I just think outside the NFC North doesn't look good for the Packers. NFC South, Bucks at the 3 seed. Now they're actually my Super Bowl pick for this year. And we're going to talk about it in the next topic, but I might be actually a little bit worried about the NFC South with the Bucks and my Super Bowl prediction. But like I said, Panthers being the number 2 seed, I have them going 7-10. I think Baker Mayfield could look pretty good. I think he'd have about 3,500 yards, 28 touchdowns.
I don't think they're a playoff team, though.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs either. And then once again, the West. The NFC West, another 3 teams coming out of the West side.
Yeah, it's a good division, tough division.
Rams at number 1, also going 15-2. The 49ers are the 5 seed, and then the Cardinals making it to the playoffs again, hopefully. And this is actually crazy, though. I have the Cardinals making it with a 9-8 record.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any, what, do you want to talk about the Vikings, I guess? That's the only huge question mark?
I think the Vikings, good chance to make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll win the division. I think
the Packers are going to win?
Kirk Cousins he's a talent, but sometimes he's inconsistent sometimes.
I can't deny that.
He started out the season, it was last year or the year before, he was terrible for 4 or 5 games before he got going. And he sometimes cracks under pressure. So I think that you might be right that they win the division, but I think that Green Bay makes the playoffs.
Well, can I read the Vikings schedule right now? It actually is a little bit weak. They open with the Packers, so
that's a tough game.
I have them splitting with the Packers, so
okay.
And then it goes Eagles, Lions, Saints, Bears.
Eagles, Lions, Bears, and who else?
The Saints.
Those three are easy.
Well,
Okay.
well, I said 4 teams. Eagles, Lions, Saints,
Well, I
Bears.
don't think the Eagles are easy.
So, but did you? I thought you haven't missed in the playoffs though.
Well, I didn't say which one was missing the playoffs in the NFC East.
Fair enough.
Okay.
And then Dolphins, Cardinals, Commanders.
So the Dolphins, I don't think they'll be that great.
I have them tied with the
Commanders
Jets.
aren't going to be that good. So there's 5 easy games.
Yep.
Well, not easy, but they're winnable. Yeah.
Bills, Cowboys, Patriots, Jets.
Bills, Cowboys, Patriots, Jets.
I think they're gonna lose against the Bills because they're at Bills. Cowboys, I think is a toss-up.
Yeah.
As long as Kirk Cousins doesn't choke, I think they could win that game.
I don't think they'll beat the Patriots.
Well, yes, we understand why you don't think they'll beat the Patriots,
Yeah.
but if you take a look at their weapons,
I just think that Bill
Vikings
Belichick will outsmart Kirk Cousins by a long shot. Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to outsmart him if your cornerbacks, one of your cornerbacks was retired last year and hasn't played in the NFL for a whole year? You lost your number 1 cornerback that had 17 interceptions in only 2 seasons.
But you have Jonathan Jones back. You have Jabril Peppers that picked up from the Giants. You have Devin McCourty. You have
who's old.
Jalen Mills is back there. The Green Goblin.
Well, right now Jabril Peppers
and
is
you
right
know
now
what?
hurt.
You have Malcolm
gone.
Butler. You know he may have a nice rebound season. And then there's probably somebody they draft. Oh, they have the Duggars. Kyle Duggars is a good player. So I don't think they're poor. I don't think they're weak in the secondary.
Fair. And then Jets, Lions, Colts, Giants. Those
Jets,
three.
Lions,
Those are 3 ones right
Colts, Giants. So their schedule had a lot of winnable
Packers,
games
Bears.
in it.
Packers, Bears to wrap up the season.
A lot of winnable games in there. So I think you could be right if they stay healthy and Kirk Cousins doesn't make a bunch of boneheaded decisions. Then they'll make the playoffs. Whether they win the division or not, I don't know. I still think Green Bay, they've been in the playoffs every year. They've been there every year for a long time.
But they don't do anything in the playoffs.
Well, so what? We're talking about just getting to the
They're
playoffs.
7-9.
We're not talking about who wins in the playoffs. We're just talking about who gets there.
Yeah,
right?
I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna have a bad year this year. I think this will be like the second time.
I think
Jalen
Jalen Hurts is a question mark whether he plays that well or not.
Okay, so then I'm gonna ask you straight up. We may do your standings. Who do you think is gonna miss the playoffs in the NFC East? Then, if you think one team is gonna make it, who would be your 6th
Probably
seed?
Dallas. I'll probably put Dallas will make it.
So what? You would move the 6th seed over to the Packers?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I would do that.
Okay.
The rest of it, I think, looks pretty good, except maybe the Bucs would be 2 and the Vikings 3.
Even the Bucs are gonna be the 2 seed.
Yeah, they have Tom Brady. Right, and they have they have a great offense. They brought back they have a wide receiver core is one of the best, right?
Right.
And their defense pretty good. I think that it's a better than average defense. So, and they're in a weak division, right? Their division is weaker. Well, I'd say maybe the North and the South probably. I think the North is a stronger division than the South.
Okay.
Right? Because I think the Packers are better than as the second team in there than either the Panthers or the Saints, right? And the Bears and the Lions are hapless, unfortunately. I kind of like the Lions, and they're hapless, though. So I think that you could flip the Buccaneers and the Vikings.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're pretty accurate there on the West. I think those 3 teams will all make it. So, yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
That's fair. I want to move on to this. You mentioned Tom Brady. Well, let's talk about Tom Brady right now because something very strange is going on, especially when it comes to Tom Brady, who seems to devote his life into film and studying and practicing. Well, recently he's been absent from his couple practices. He was absent for his birthday and a couple days after that, and now he's on a hiatus for 10 days. Who knows where he is? He's away on what Todd Bowles, the head coach of the Buccaneers, is calling personal matters, personal issues that he's dealing with. And a Boston Globe writer, Ben Volen, who is, he's been a Brady writer for about 13 years now. So I think he would understand some of Brady's emotions and, his actions, what they can mean. he went on Colin Cowherd's show, The Herd, and basically had this quote saying, I don't think he loves the humidity in Tampa. It is very swampy out there here every morning. His buddy Gronk is retired. That's his running mate. That's his guy. And now he looks all over the field. He's throwing guys like Kyle Rudolph. Chris Godwin is banged up. And we're not sure when he's going to be himself again. Ryan Jensen also went down recently. They have a backup center in there who seems to be not there yet. They also got Julio Jones. So, you know what? Do you think Brady, do you have any concern whatsoever with Brady's hiatus and, him being absent and seeming frustrated at practice and miserable about being with the Bucs? I mean, think about it. He was all ready to be going over to Miami to be a part owner or a potential quarterback along with Sean Payton. So do you think Brady's checked out? Because remember, he was retired. He did retire. Are you worried at all for the Bucs?
Not yet. I think is he unhappy in practice?
He's been looking pretty unhappy recently. So we don't know what the exact answer is.
He has family. His mother was a cancer survivor. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with his personal hiatus here. I would think it's something pretty serious for him to miss that kind of time. He's big on practice and he's big on preparation. So I'm a little surprised by the length of time there. It must be something quite serious. Otherwise, he'd be there. So, those personal things, if it's something serious, what can you do? That's the way it goes. So I do think that, once he gets back there, he'll be putting his heart and soul in it. Sees this as maybe his last year. He's going to really give it all he's got. And that should be good enough, I think.
I'm beginning to become more and more concerned as, for some reason, the time of absence has increased from 3 days now to 10 days. He's missing 2 games of the 2 games of the preseason. Who knows if he'll even make it to the third one or even play in the third one. My guess is he won't. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We'll see how he starts off the season against the Cowboys with. But I'm actually a little bit worried. Because regardless of it, if it's a personal matter, we have to realize he was retired. He told his family he retired. He made a big announcement that is saying he's retired. So I'm sure he made plans with his family saying, you know what, I'm retired now. Let's plan a trip to go this, that, and the other place. So my guess would be he's on a vacation right now. He's sitting with his family because he has obligations to be with his family. That's my guess.
I doubt that.
And also,
he's on vacation.
And also, let's fully acknowledge this. Stephen Ross just got fined for tampering. And who is he tampering with? Tom Brady and Sean Payton. Specifically, Tom Brady. He just got fined and lost, I think, a first-round pick?
Did he? A first-round?
For tampering.
Yeah.
So Brady was all up in arms about going to the Dolphins. That was the whole plan. He retires, then joins as a part owner of the Dolphins, and potentially comes back and plays with the Dolphins as their quarterback one when Tua seems to implode, which he seems to be doing recently. And Sean Payton would be his head coach. And then the Brian Flores thing blew up, and the plan fizzled out. But
Brian Flores, he doesn't even have a job now, right?
Yeah, no, he's the linebackers coach for the Steelers, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But the Bucs were not his number one priority going into this year. He was done because that plan was set in action. Yeah, that's why he retired. To say, well, I'm retired. I'm gonna go now join the Dolphins as a part owner.
Yeah, but they would have had to do something about his contract, right? Because even though he retired, the Bucs had the dibs on him.
We had 1 year as a player though, not as an owner though. If he retires, he could become an owner.
If he could retire and be an owner, that wouldn't have anything
and then wait
to do
the
with
year
his
out.
contract.
Wait the year out.
Yeah, but that would then he'd be 40,
come back.
46 years old.
I mean, who knows? We think he might play 2 more years, but right now I'm not so sure. I mean, the only reason I believe that he came back to the Bucs is that he had no other option. Because if the Brian Flores thing didn't blow up, he probably still would be retired. Or he would be on the Dolphins coaching, or he would be in the Dolphins ownership group right now. Huh. He ran out of options. So right now, it's either that Brady is spending time with his family because he made obligations to them when he was retired for those 40 days, saying, well, we'll take trips together, we'll spend more time together. It could be that, or he's genuinely frustrated with the situation and literally has no other options on what to do.
Maybe.
And knowing Brady, he is a very family-centered man.
Yeah.
his family means almost as much to him as football does. And right now, I think anyone could see it. Football is slowly dying away from Brady. He's pulling himself out of football because he has an NFT company. He's a production company. He has a clothing line now. He has all these things that are...
This is an offer to go be an announcer.
Yeah, he has a 10-year, $375 million deal to be a lead announcer for Fox.
Yeah.
So he's going to get that as soon as he retires.
Yeah. Well, I think to keep that, burning bright and to be be valued, that contract, he needs to play. He needs to play well. If this last year is a stinker, and then he goes in the booth, I think it takes a little bit of it tarnishes it a little bit. So I don't think I think he's going to try to give it his all this last year.
I mean, Brady's known for giving it his all, but I don't think regardless. I mean, look at
Plus, he knows the offense, right? He's been there. This will be his third year there.
Look at Peyton Manning in his last year. He threw like 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Yeah, but
he was injured.
He was
his neck. He had that neck problem.
Yeah, but
his arm didn't have the arm strength.
That's what I'm saying. He fell off slowly.
So that's not true with Brady.
But what I'm saying is that he had a bad year, but he's still recognized as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Did he win the Super Bowl that year? Even though he
got subbed out for Brock Osweiler. Come on.
Yeah.
And are we really not going to say that his defense didn't carry him? They beat the Panthers. Cam Newton had put no effort in that Super Bowl.
They still won the Super Bowl.
They did, but that was a large part. Von Miller won Super Bowl MVP, so that says a lot about what it is. I'm a little bit nervous because it seems Brady is checked out, at least for now.
That's why you had him the number 3 seed now instead of number 2.
Well, I originally thought
what record do you have them get?
I believe I have them 12-5 or 13. I have it right here actually. I believe I'm going 13-4. 13-4. But
so you can't be too worried.
They're actually right now favored as the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Oh yeah.
I have them at the 3 seed because I think Brady. You know what? Maybe this is just Brady's off season, right? Because even with the Patriots, he would go away to Qatar. He would go over these exotic resort locations all around the world, and then come back and win Super Bowls. So maybe maybe when it actually comes down to doing it, he'll say, "Okay, I spent more time with you, family. Now I got this." So maybe he'll flip his psycho Tom Brady switch, and it'll be hyper focused in on football because. Somehow, I don't understand how the schedule works. I don't know how they make the schedule, but the Patriots are playing the Dolphins again in week 1.
Well, I remember there was a year when Brady didn't play a snap in the preseason, and he came out in the first game, looked great, but then he got hit by Pollard, and he was out for the season. So they got to be careful, not playing at all in the preseason and then kind of come do it. Didn't work out so well last time he did that. So
right. So, like I said, I'm a little bit worried.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Got it.
But like the thing I'm worried about is Super Bowl. I think Brady has only missed the postseason once in his career, where he started every single season and only won less than 10 games once. He's never had a losing record.
Yeah.
So 22 years, because this is his 23rd year. Actually, no, 21.
Amazing. He's the GOAT, no doubt.
21 years because he was injured in 2008.
We'll see what happens.
21 years of 0 losing
So when's
seasons.
his 10 days up? How many days has he gone through already?
The 21st, I believe.
Really?
The 21st.
Yeah.
So that's after I think they have a preseason game on the 20th. So, yeah. We're going to take about a 1-minute break, and we'll finish on our last topic about Bill Russell. We'll see you guys in just a minute. Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and once again, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. We're going to wrap up the Harvey Hour talking about Bill Russell. Bill Russell sadly passed away, I believe, earlier last week. That was the age of late 80s, early
88.
88. Regarded as probably one of, if not the best Celtic to ever play. I'd definitely say he's up there, top 3, without a doubt. He's the most winningest player in the NBA, and really in all major sports. Was 11 championships, won 10 in 11 years, a tremendous feat, especially early in the mid to late 50s and into the 60s. Him versus Wilt Chamberlain, one of the greatest sort of duels of all time, putting up tremendous numbers. Seems impossible numbers to get nowadays.
Yeah. One of his, the Lakers took him to a 7th game in the championship, and that 7th game, he had 30 points and 40 rebounds.
That's
amazing. I mean, those are numbers you don't see. You just don't see those kind of numbers.
His impact on basketball is one thing, but his impact generally on outside of basketball, on society in general,
very big.
Was what my guess would be a huge part in the reason why he got his number retired. Sort of like the Jackie Robinson thing, breaking the color barrier in the MLB. Yeah. That's sort of what Bill Russell did, especially for black coaches in the NBA. Bill Russell was the first black coach in the NBA, and he was also
player-coach.
He was also a player coach. I believe he's the only player to win as a player coach.
Yeah.
So
did it more than once, right? They did it 2 out of 3 times, I think.
So his impact on the game is one thing, but the society impact is another thing. There was
a big point.
It was that huge. It was a huge meeting with all the major people of color athletes. You had Muhammad Ali there. You had obviously Bill Russell. You had Kareem.
Jim Brown.
All these huge athletes coming together to fight this civil rights. So Bill Russell, yes, we could talk about his on the court feats, which were tremendous, averaging basically over 20 rebounds per game throughout his entire career. Essentially, his last 2 years slightly under, only 19.3 and 18.6 rebounds.
How about blocks? I think that was one of his big things too. He was a huge defensive player.
Yeah,
he could block. He would block the shot to somebody, to one of his teammates. He was that good.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's. I'm sure this is a very, very famous clip. There's a clip of him dribbling. He gets a rebound, then he dribbles, and then he takes one dribble beyond half court, and then he lays it in. One dribble beyond half court. That's all it took for him to get to the rim. One dribble. He crossed half court, dribbles it once, and then basically floats over to the rim.
Wow.
I'd
like to see that.
It's a tremendous video, but I have never got to see Bill Russell play, obviously.
I did.
He's before my time, a while before my time, but I can only imagine what it's like to see those type of players. And you know what? We're seeing it in some aspects today. I mean, I'm not saying to the degree, but, purely great basketball. I mean, would I put LeBron James, LeBron James is probably the closest example to, the all-time great basketball. Steph Curry's the all-time greatest shooter, but he's not an all-time, all-around player. Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, those guys were all-around players, putting up massive numbers. I'm telling you, we will never, ever see numbers like that.
I think the difference today between the talent and what it was back then is there's more talent in the NBA than there was back then. I think there are a number of better players on the teams. Every team has a very good player. That wasn't so much so, I don't think, back then.
I think the talent isn't better. I think
the talent is better now.
I think it's a different talent. Because look at Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman put up games where he scored 0 points, but he would get 20 rebounds.
Yeah.
And you know what? Michael Jordan wanted him on the team, trusted him, kept him on the team. I think knowing Michael Jordan, his mentality, especially watching The Last Dance, knowing how Michael Jordan functions in his brain and how he thinks, if Dennis Rodman was putting up 0 points with 3, 4, 5 rebounds, he would have been off the team after year 2. But no, Michael Jordan kept him on because they needed him. So the effectiveness of a player has definitely changed in today's NBA. You have to be the shorter guard is kind of being drawn out of the league. You want guys who are 6'5" as your point guard, these tall guards.
Well, a 3-point shot is a big difference. They didn't have it back then when Bill Russell played, so they went inside more often.
Right.
Plus, the Celtics played the fast break offense. So that was a little different too. But I do think that the talent that Bill Russell went up against night after night compared to the talent that LeBron goes up against night after night, I think there's more talent now than there was then. So I think that helped Bill Russell some. But no doubt, I do think he's right up there as one of the best players ever to play. And I agree with your social comments. He was an impact both socially and on the basketball court. And I think it was right to retire his number. It'll never be worn again. I think that's great.
Do you think that Bill Russell, he should have been the first? Like, do you think it was right that he's the first player to have his number retired league-wide in the NBA?
Yes, I do.
I agree with you. I think just is because, I mean, if we're talking about just purely talent-wise, right? If we're talking about, like, a greatness of a player, like, for instance, Wayne Gretzky, his greatness will never be touched again in the NHL.
Well, his number's retired, too.
No, exactly. I think there's a stat where if Wayne Gretzky never scored a goal, something like that, he would still have the most points in NHL history. It's some crazy stat like that. That's how good Wayne Gretzky was.
Yeah.
I'm not, an aficionado on Wayne Gretzky, but I think he got his number retired purely largely based on just how dominant he was in the sport.
Well, and Jackie Robinson, it's more the social thing.
And I think Bill Russell is my guess would be a good blend of both. I think it would probably lean more towards the social aspect just because...
I don't know, Nate. He won 11 championships.
No, I understand. I understand that. But
I'd say maybe I think the playing part of it's a little bit ahead of the social part of it, but not by much.
I mean, he played in a city which was the last to be integrated in the MLB.
Yeah.
Which is large.
No, it was very racial. Boston, very racial city.
It's largely known as one of the most racist communities, especially back then.
Yeah.
In the United States.
I'm sure it was very hard for him.
And think about Bill Russell. He's dominating. He won 11 championships, and people were still calling him out for being African American. Just think of it. He is putting up massive numbers. 30 points, 40 rebounds. And people are still being racist against him. That's the situation that Bill Russell was in.
Yeah.
And he became the first player coach, became the first black coach, became the first player coach to win a championship. He led this pathway for other black coaches to integrate into the NBA.
Had some great players with him on the Celtics. Bob Cousy, Sam Jones, Casey Jones.
Casey Jones, yeah.
Well, else do you have? Satch Sanders. I think, Satch Sanders played with him. Tom Heinsohn played with him. I don't know if Havlicek, did he play with him?
What year would that be? Where did Havlicek play?
Havlicek probably played later in Bill Russell's career.
63.
63. Okay, so he was there a long. Havlicek was a great player.
He would, midway through Bill Russell's career.
Yeah. So he had some good players with him. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
But they never would have won that many championships without him. He was definitely the guy.
I mean,
he was a winner.
He averaged 15.1 points per game and 22.5 rebounds per game.
How many blocks?
It's probably close. It's probably over 10. No, it's like I think we looked at. It's like 8.6. I think
8.6 blocks a game. Wow.
Yeah.
Most players are like 2 or 3. 3 they consider great, right?
Yeah. 8.1 blocks per game.
Yeah. Wow.
It was him and Wilt Chamberlain in the early NBA days.
With the league, it's like in that era. It was Russell and Chamberlain. Then it was Magic and Bird.
Yep.
Right. And
so it was Jordan Pippen and Malone Stockton. Those are the next two.
Now more later on, it's LeBron.
It was LeBron and Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe. Shaq's in there.
Yeah, Shaq.
Yeah.
And then it turned into LeBron and Curry.
But I think that the identifying players in that era were Russell and Chamberlain for sure.
Without a doubt.
The center was the dominant then, and then it went to, and then I think the next time it was really two defining players was Bird and Magic.
Yeah.
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 Then I don't think there's been two defining players since then. Really, two.
It would be LeBron and then who? Because
I don't know.
LeBron would obviously be.
I mean, Michael
other
Jordan is in the Bird Magic era too. So
he was towards the end though.
Yeah.
Like probably by year 4, what they were out of the league. Year 5 maybe. I'm not sure the exact number, but Jordan came in sort of at the end of their careers. So it's yes, you can say they play in the era, but then you could also say that LeBron was almost in Jordan's era.
Where do they rank Bill Russell in terms of the top 10, 12, 15 players in all time? He doesn't get ranked that high, right?
No, he's in the top 10 usually.
Yeah.
It depends on how you look at it. Let's see, top 10 NBA players of all time. Oh, the 75th anniversary team. Did they rank them like number 1 to 75, or did they just say these are the players in the 75th?
I don't know.
Let's do ESPN. ESPN is usually generally credible. Let's see if they had Bill Russell. Bill Russell is... will they give me an answer? Number 4.
Number 4.
On ESPN's top 10 list.
And who do they have ahead of him?
Kareem, LeBron, Jordan. So the ESPN puts him over players like Magic, and he put him over Wilt too.
I mean, they put him
Larry
over.
Bird.
They probably put Abdul-Jabbar over him, but just because of the stats.
Yeah, he has the most points in NBA history.
But didn't he play? He played a lot more games than Bill Russell played, I think.
Yeah.
Jabbar, right?
Yeah. Jabbar played, I think, 20 seasons.
Yeah, and Bill Russell only played 13.
Yeah.
So, if he played 20 seasons, it might be different.
Played 20 seasons.
I don't know why he retired. Actually, he retired on top, right? After 13 seasons.
I'm trying to see.
How old was he when he retired?
34, and yes, they did go out champion. He went out being a champion.
And he retired at 34.
34 years old. Yeah.
Could have played 6 more years easy.
It's kind of crazy. In 56, did they not have an all-star team or all NBA team?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, because that's the only year he missed was his rookie year in 56 to 57. Every other year he made the all-star team.
Yeah, but they didn't have one in the first year.
That's what I would guess because he put up 14 points, 19 rebounds.
Yeah.
So I would just assume.
Did they win the championship in his rookie year?
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
They must not have had it then because I would have thought
they beat the St. Louis Hawks in 7 games. So Bill Russell sadly passed away, old age.
Rest in peace.
Well, it was a very, very good career and a very, very good life, obviously.
He said I never had more fun. He said I was blessed. I was having fun my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Rest in peace, Bill Russell, one of the greatest NBA players of all time. And
now his number is retired.
The greatest, I would say, would you say the greatest Celtic of all time?
Yes, I'd have to say so.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got this is only I think the 3rd number in professional sports, at least in America, that have been retired.
Yeah.
So I think Bill Russell was the right guy to be the first. There might be more. My guess is probably not because of how rare it is.
You think maybe Brady's number when he retires?
I don't think the NFL does that.
You don't think they'll do it?
I really don't.
Maybe not, but every other sport has done it.
You have hockey, you have baseball, you have
basketball
NBA,
now. Yeah. So only football.
Football would be the one. My guess would be eventually, potentially.
Yeah.
But my guess, I would be leaning more towards no, that Brady's number doesn't get retired.
I mean, I think in a way for Bill Russell, it's a little bit of a shame they didn't do it before he passed away. You know?
Yeah.
To wait till after he passed away. There's certainly an argument to be made. They could have done it 15 years ago. You know?
And some people are getting angry, and I think it's just stupid too. And people who believe that the NBA did it because he passed away. That's why they finally did it, was because he passed away. But I don't think that's true.
No, I don't either.
I don't think they retired his number league wide.
I think what? I think that when he passed away, it gave them pause to go back and think about his career and match it up against the history of the league, and then they say, hey, this makes sense. Let's do it.
Right.
They should have maybe done that 10 or 15 years ago. I think it would have been good for Bill Russell to be alive when they did it, but unfortunately, it's not. So.
Yeah. So, you have any last thoughts, last comments, last ideas?
I'm looking forward to football season. I watched a bunch of those pre-season games. I mean, they're meaningless, but I watched the ones that have been on. It's football.
It's football, yeah, exactly.
You know,
I
like seeing the players who really maybe don't have a chance, trying to impress the coaches so that they can at least make the team.
Right.
And I thought there was some good performances, for some of those players.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the one player I think the Patriots made a mistake in not hanging on to was Gunnar Olszewski.
He looked pretty good. He looked pretty good
for the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
And they had him out there in the starting lineup.
Yeah. Caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah. He caught a touchdown pass. He's a tough player.
Yeah.
I think he's somebody the Patriots might have made a mistake on. They never let him play much in the offense, only when it was garbage time.
He was a
return guy, and he's a very good return guy.
Yep.
But maybe he's a really good receiver too, and we'll see.
Could be.
And Mason Rudolph played pretty well out there. I was a little surprised. I mean, he threw that long pass and hit the guy right. He had one step to go out of the end zone. The ball was right there. It was perfect.
Well, we talked about it.
And I think Mr. Trubisky, he didn't look to anything like a world beater. I mean, they didn't leave him in there long enough to really be able to tell. But and I didn't see Kenny Pickett. I didn't watch the whole game. Did you? How'd he do?
He played all right. I wouldn't say. I mean, he got a huge standing ovation.
I mean, he's the one they want, right? They want him to be in there. Didn't he play at Pittsburgh? Didn't he play his college ball at Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
So he's a hometown boy.
He played in a couple of places. I think he played. I don't want to say.
But he finished his college career at Pittsburgh, right?
No, he played Pitt his whole career. Oh wow.
Oh, his whole. Okay.
I thought he played in UConn.
Yeah.
Or not UConn. UCLA, but I was wrong. But yeah. So I think that wraps up for this Harvey Hour. Thanks so much, Dad, for always being with me. I appreciate it.
It's great to be.
Once the NFL season starts picked up, we'll be doing many, many more shows.
2 games a week. I mean, two shows a week.
2 shows a week. We'll be doing that. A lot more topics.
Tune in. We'd like to have you call in. Call in, give your opinion.
Of course, you can always check the description for if you ever have a question to get into the show. You can always send me a question. It's always in the description of these live streams. But for this one, I'm going to wrap it up for this. Thank you so much, Dad, once again for being on.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll have guests on very, very soon.
Maybe John, you can come on.
Yeah, my brother hopefully will be coming on soon. There's a lot to, I want to pick his brain with some of the MLB
My
stuff.
sister, she could come on. She's biased towards Boston sports, so I'd like to have her on there.
That would be a very, very good debate. Very good debate. But for this one, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for tuning to the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen.